Hi everybody. We're really glad you're here, and we still see some people coming in, so we're just going to maybe wait another minute. There's a way to type a question in there, so if any of you guys want to type a question, can you hear me? So either just type a question and just say yes, and this way I know that you guys can hear us. So we're going to wait like another minute. But we see that David is in, we see Ryan, we see Brenda. Hope you all are doing well today, and we really appreciate you being here, especially on a holiday weekend. Good. We see that you guys can hear us. Okay, so we're going to get started. All we really wanted to do was introduce ourselves. I have Brenda here. Do you want to say hi, Brenda? Hello. Some of you may have talked to Brenda on her as far as like customer support or technical information. So anyway, we're going to make this very simple. We're going to show you the basics of ELWire. We're going to kind of not get very technical. So we want this to be fun, informative, and we really want you to enjoy this webinar. So during this, if you have any questions at any time, go ahead and type those in, and as we're going along, if I'm paying attention to that question section, I will go ahead and try to answer them towards the end. We'll have a Q&A at the end. But your questions can be anything like, can ELWire, and then whatever your question is, or maybe you have another question about politics or something like that. We may not answer those, but we'll see what happens. Again, today, basics makeup of ELWire, how to order ELWire from our site, our other services, and then we'll end with a Q&A. So sit back, relax, and enjoy. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to try to just start off with our website. And so here's our home page. And if you scroll down to the bottom, you're going to see all of our 6 services that we currently offer. The only one we're going to talk about right now is ELWire. So one of the reasons we have this webinar is we get a ton of questions. If I order a kit, do I have to solder? If I order a kit, do I have to do this? So we kind of want to take and answer those questions for you and actually show you what you're going to get. So the first thing what we're going to do, and I may need Brenda's help here, we're going to go ahead and put a kit together. So again, the first thing we did was we're at the home page. You scroll down to the bottom, you can click on ELWire. We just added this new section right here, and it's called our ELWire educational page. If you're not familiar with our website, if you wanted to go to a kit, it'll tell you if you're ordering kits. And it's very obvious. So this is the 1.4 millimeter ELWire kits, 2.6, 2.2. Or if you click on this new link right here, the educational page, there's tabs right here. So the first one is kits. We took away all the other things so you didn't have to search for kits, and you can go ahead and order from our smallest diameter. So the smaller the number, the thinner the wire. And it's really going to depend on your application, which wire you're going to need. I can share this much though, 0.9 is very thin. It's like the lead that comes out of the mechanical pencils. And the 5.0 is not quite as thick as a number 2 pencil, but it is a thicker wire. The last thing I want to say about this before we build a kit is the last 2 here are our new 3rd generation wire. It's been out for a while, but it's about 30-35% brighter than the 0.9, 1.4, or 2.2. So again, the 2.6 and 5.0 will be the brightest ones. So on this first one, we're going to go ahead and just say we want to build a kit that's 2.6 millimeter. And I know I need something around 14 feet. I took some measurements already, so I know that I need an inverter that can power up to 14 feet. So we know we're in the 2.6 section, so this one can only do like 1 to 5, and it's kind of our car kit. We don't want that one. This one does 20 to 60. That's kind of overkill for the 14 feet. So this one looks perfect. It powers from 6 to 16 feet, so we're going to go ahead and select it. Okay, so what we're going to do, let's say the first thing you got to do is just know what color you want. So we're going to go ahead and select orange. The length, in this example, we're going to say 14 feet. Now the Easy Snap connector, which we actually have the patent on, is standard. So that comes and there's no extra to put this Easy Snap connector on. If you want us to solder one on, it's going to be an extra $1. So we're going to pick the Easy Snap. And then on this one here, it says, how do you want to power this inverter? And in this case, we don't want to use the battery pack. We want to go ahead and use include the US 12-volt wall transformer. So we're going to go ahead and include that. And you can't add batteries to a wall transformer, so say do not include any batteries. And so we're going to add that to the cart. So mentally, we've been dealing with this so long, I can picture it, but you may not be able to picture exactly what you're getting. So we want to show you that kit that we just ordered, what it looks like when you receive it. So here's everything that we put together. We got the 2.6, we have orange, 14 feet, the Easy Snap connector. So when it's delivered to you, you will get this exact setup, and all you have to do is plug it in. This connector will be on, the connector will be on, the EL wire ready. You don't have to do anything. So anything on our website that says a kit, it's going to be done already. Now we have the option of not using the wall transformer but the battery pack. So I just want to show you what that would look like if you did not get the wall transformer but ordered the batteries. The same kit, the same inverter, but here's the battery pack. It takes 4 AA's on one side, flip it over, and you put 4 on the other side. And so this one's great if you have like a costume or you have a scooter or you just want to be able to have something that's portable. The battery pack is definitely the way to go. Okay, so the next one that we're going to do, and I'm going to have kind of Brenda click on this one. So we're going to watch Brenda click now. So we're going to build a kit. So what Brenda's doing right now, since you added this, if you wanted to go ahead and add another kit to your site, there's a couple ways of going back. So Brenda's going to show you how she's going to go back. So tell us, Brenda, how are you going to go back?
I will click on the right-hand side, and under products, I would click on EL wire.
Okay, and so now Brenda knows that she needs a 1.4 millimeter EL wire diameter. So there's a couple ways of doing that. It looks like Brenda says, okay, I'm on the main EL wire page, so I can go to the 1.4. Or again, if you go back to the educational page and you stay on that first tab, it's right there. So since we're here, let's click on that one. And then what we're going to do is we know that we need 9 feet of wire. So what Brenda is going to do is going to find the proper inverter here that can power the 9 feet of wire. So this one is our most popular one right here, which is our AA kit. It powers 4 to 15 foot. So the option we're going to do is say color will be yellow. The length will be 9 feet. So the connector, again, if you want to solder it on, then you can do that, or the Easy Snap it's free, so we're going to take the Easy Snap. And this one, I don't want to go to the store and buy batteries, so it takes 2, and you're going to say I need 2 more just so I have them as spare. So in this case, we'll add 4 AA batteries, and we'll add that to the cart. Okay, so now we're going to show you what that kit looks like. Again, you don't have to do anything when you buy our kits. The kit is super, super simple. If you didn't get the batteries, all you got to do is pop 2 AA's in here. This cover goes on top and you're ready to go. Again, we put the connector on as long as you buy something that says it's a kit. So let's see what else. So I think that makes it kind of really clear at this point in time. Now, we have another way to build a kit if you need more than 1 wire. We see some questions are coming in, so I think what I'm going to do is we're going to have a Q&A at the end, and I will try to answer these questions, and I really appreciate them, so keep them coming. So we're now just going to jump over to the kit builders. So hold on. Okay, so let me go to the home page. On our home page, you can say Start Kit Builder. if you go to the EL wire section right there, you're going to be able to see on here that the very first link says EL wire kit builder, so we can get it from there. Or if you're in the educational section, here's the EL wire kit builder here. We were the first ones to develop the kit builder. It is amazing. It takes all the work out of it. All you really need to know is what color, what diameter, and what length. You don't need to know about soldering, connectors, power, or anything. So let's start from here. On this kit builder, what we're going to do is build strand 1. We're going to show you how you can mix this up. So we're going to say the first strand we want it to be 1.4, the second strand 2.2, the third strand, let's go back to 1.4, the next strand is 2.6, and the last strand we'll say is 5.0. The only reason we're doing this, you don't have to stay with the same diameter. You can mix the second generation and the third generation. So as far as the feet go, let's go 3 foot, we'll go 7 foot, let's go 9, let's go 13, and let's go like 15 foot. So down here, it's saying that with all of our inverters, usable footage left, you still have 80% more, meaning you can still add a lot more wire if you wanted to, but we already pre-measured for our application what we wanted. So we're going to stick with these feet. So as far as the color goes, we're going to go power green, we'll do blue green, we'll do dark blue, yellow, and then we'll do orange. So let's say we'll do yellow and we'll do orange. Now I know on these, so let's kind of picture the inverter, which is the thing that powers the EL wire, having 5 fingers or branches coming off of it. And we're going to snap 3 foot of power green on there, 7 foot, 9 foot, and all that. But we need on the first strand and the third strands, we want to be able to extend those farther. So let's say you're doing a costume and you have the inverter by your waist, or you're doing a car and you have the inverter underneath the dash and you want to go to the right or left door and you need to extend those 2 sections. Well, you can add a 3 foot extension, and that's what that is doing. So once you're done there, you hit next. And the options that we have here is that it's either going to be a permanent application, which means you're going to plug it into the wall, or a portable one. And so for this exercise, we're just going to pick portable. The other options are if you're going to power it in your car and you wanted our cigarette lighter adapter, you can plug it in there and then that will power your inverter, or you're going to power you have your own 12 volts. But anyway, we're going to say that it's portable. So the power of this kit builder now has taken like the hundreds of inverters that we have, and now narrows it down to the ones that will work with what you selected as far as your lengths and the EL wire type. So here there's 3 inverters only out of all of our selections that can power what you had. So in this one, let's go ahead and include batteries because we want this to be portable, and we're going to select this one right here. So if we say we're done now, we can have an option of either building another kit so it goes back to the start, continue shopping for something else, or we can just say check out now. So if we did check out right now, it's just sitting in our shopping cart, and this is the whole kit builder. Again, what you will get when you receive the kit from the kit builder, here's all the details that we ordered, the 1.4, the lens, the colors. So you can see the 5 different diameters right here. Here's the sound inverter. Coming off of that is the 5 output splitter because there's 5 wires. So you can see on the first one, there's a 3 foot extension. And here's the third one that has a 3 foot extension. So if we just took the little tie wraps off of these, we can extend these, the blue one and the power green one, longer than the other ones. Everything is done. Again, all you really needed to know is what diameter you needed, what length, and what colors, and it selected the inverters and gave you all the other options. So this is what will be delivered in the box that gets delivered to you. Now this next section is the ones, we're not going to spend a lot of time, we're going to kind of go through this quickly. I'm going to delete these items in the cart. This is for the ones who kind of really understand what they are doing, and it's kind of for the do-it-yourself type person. So we're going to let Brenda take control of this one, and we're going to give her the mic. Hold on.
Hello guys, this is Brenda. So now I am going to do everything do it yourself. So this is for all the customers that basically need everything, or they already know everything they need to get, meaning like they're going to do everything putting the snap connectors or solder themselves, and they already know what inverter to get, if they're going to need extensions, if they're going to need splitters. So I am going to do everything on do it yourself. So as you can see, we are on our home page. So you would click on where it says EOWire. Okay, so same thing, here will be the options if you already know exactly what you'll be needing. But again, just like Andy said, everything is going to be on the EOWire education page too. So you have options on where to click. Once you're here, you will click on the second tab that says for EOWire pros and do-it-yourself projects. And so now, again, this is really up to you on how the steps you would want to go. So for example, what I'm going to do first, since I already know how much wire I need, I'd say about 38 feet and of the 5.0 red-orange wire. So what I want to do, instead of getting it by the foot, I'm going to get it on a spool. So I'll look for the 5.0 that I want to get, which is this one. Okay. So now since I want red-orange, I am going to get red-orange, and I just need 50 feet. And just the extra wire that I get will be for another project. Okay, so now in order to go back to the page that I was on, I am clicking on the back button. So you would click it 3 times back and it will get you back to this page. Alright, so next I would want to select, let's go with selecting the inverter. Okay, alright, so now I'm already thinking I need 38 feet, so I will look for an inverter that could power up 38 feet of the 5.0 red-orange. So as you can see, each inverter that we have here can only like 1 to 5 feet, 1 to 100, that's an option, 20 to 26 feet. So I would look for something that is 38 feet. So I would go with this one. Okay, so this inverter could do 27 or 48 feet, so it could definitely power up the 38 feet of wire that I have. So in this section, again, for customers, they are going to ask me if I need power, which I would select that in the accessory page, or I have an option on selecting it now. Okay, and then on the upgrade, same thing for the plug-and-play fader. I can select it now or later, which I'm going to show you guys how to get it separately. And same thing on the batteries. I am going to show you on how to get that separately. Okay, and then I just add to cart. Okay, so same thing. I have my spool, I have my inverter. So next I am going to get my connectors. As all you guys should know that the EOWire is going to need connectors. Alright, so I would go back 3 times and it's going to take me back to the EOWire education page. Alright, so now I am going to click on the EOWire accessories. Alright, so I want to use our easy snap connectors. They're real simple. All you got to do is open them up, snap them, strip the wire, good to go. No soldering involved. So I want to get, I'll just say I'll get a 10 pack. All right. So I will click on the 10 pack and then I will add that to my cart. And it'll show you a picture of how we have the wire here on one of the snap connectors, and I'll be getting 10. Add that to my cart. So now I want to add that plug and play fader. Okay, So I would go back 2 times and it would take me back to the very first page of the accessories. Okay, the fader would be here. So what the fader does, with the fader, you plug this in between the inverter and the battery pack or wall transformer or the cigarette adapter if you plan to use this in your car, in your vehicle. Okay, so what the fader does, it would fade in and out and has about 2 seconds, 4 seconds, and 8 seconds. And it also gives you access to make the wire blink. And it does have an on and off button. So that's a good advantage of getting the fader and blink module when you're selecting an inverter. So again, and also we do have a video, guys, just to show you what the fader does. All right, so I would add that to my cart. So I have my spools, my inverter, my snap connectors, and my fader. So I will go back again to the first page or the accessory page, and I'm going to need extensions. And here they are. And just like Andy explained, if you guys need to get to from waist to up to your shoulder, or if you're doing a mask or anything, then these extensions are very helpful. And let's just say I just need one, I would add that to my cart. Just keep it simple. So again, back to the accessory page. Also, let's say I'm making a costume out of this, I wouldn't be needing my splitters. So on this, I am just going to select 4 output splitters, and I say I need 2. So I would change the quantity that to 2 and then add that to my cart. Okay, so I'm going to need my project to be portable. So I would go back into the accessory page, look for my battery pack. So we have them on the first page, and next to it we have the wall transformer just in case you guys need it. So I will select my battery pack. Now we have 2 different battery packs, or they're the same. The only difference is that one is going to have a single connector and then the other one's going to have a dual connector. Now you guys, we do have a video down here just showing you how to use, what's the advantage of using one and then using the advantage of 2. Okay, so in this project that I'm going to do, I just need a battery pack with a single connector. All right, so we ask you with a single or dual. Now here, I'm going to need batteries. I really don't want to go to the store. So I am going to add the 8 AA batteries. I just need one, and then I will add that to my cart. All right, so guys, everything on my shopping cart is set for do-it-yourself. I got my spool, I got my wire, I got my inverter. I need 30 feet, so that will be my inverter, the 27 to 40 feet. I have my snap connectors. I got myself a 10-pack, the fader and blink module, a 3-foot extension, the 4 output splitters, and then my battery pack with the 8 AA batteries. And this is set up to do it yourself. All right. So now, we have going on, we have free shipping with UPS or the USPS parcel post, I'm sorry, and or the other option is going with a free gift with all orders $75 or more. All right, and then down here we have the option of continue shopping, if you guys want to just double check how much is for shipping, or you go ahead and check out now. Okay, and that's my name right there, guys. All right, so this is all do it yourself, and this is what is going to look like when you guys get this. So as you can see, I have my AA battery packs, I have my inverter, my 10-pack, my 3-foot extension, I have my battery, I think I mentioned battery pack already, I have my splitters, I have my spool, and my plug and play fader. And everything would be just for me, I can do everything myself. Alright guys, here was Andy.
So one of the things that we do is that, and there's a discount code there, so if you can place an order before June 8th, this code is nowhere else, so it's for 15%. We usually do like 5-6%. So it's webinar 10, and it's good until June 8th. But going back to the order, so what we also try to do with every order is we go ahead and we videotape everything before it leaves here. We do it for a few reasons. Before we started videoing, we would sometimes leave things out, and when customers called up, we would be questioned as far as, hey, you didn't ship that, and so we would ship it. And so sometimes something may fall out of the box when they open it and they really got it. So everything is video, so we know that it's working. It's really extremely important for us. We also have a live online chat, so let me see if we can show you that on our website. So let's go to, let's just say checkout now. Oh, right here. So we can go ahead and chat right now. Let's just see if someone is there right now. Let me minimize this, and let's see if we can start a chat. Sometimes the chat line gets very, very busy, so we're not 100% sure. If we can't get to it, we try as fast as we can. I'm going to say, I need help. Oh, so someone is there. I said, okay, this was awesome. How can I help you? Let me see. How are we doing on the NAR? Uh-oh. Oh, I misspelled it. That's me. So we'll wait for a reply back. So we really try to be able to respond to you many ways, by email, by chat. It's just so, and so we pride ourselves on quality and shipping you what you need. So we're going to try to now go to and work on the Q&A session part of this thing now. So what I want to do is just going to scroll through and see what some of the questions were. So if you can give me just a second or so, I will be right with you. Let's see. Okay, so one of the questions was, how long does the battery pack last? So EL wire really, really, really lasts a long time. So for example, if you got our AA battery kit, the one that takes 2 AA batteries, that kit will last about 15 hours or so in constant mode, and in blink mode, it actually lasts longer. It'll last like 24 hours. So if 15 hours is good for you for what you're trying to do, then that AA battery pack is great. The 8 AA battery pack one is going to last a lot longer, but it also will depend on how many feet you're going to power. So for example, let's just say you're going to power 25 feet with the 8 AA battery pack. How long would you think it would last, Brenda? Like three 8-hour days, maybe 4 8-hour days. So it's going to last a long time. So great question. Let me see what the next question. How much wire can I put on my inverter? So I think we kind of went over that, and hopefully we answered it, but let me just show you again. If you go to the educational page, and even, let's just go to kids. So we're going to just pick 2.6 millimeter. It'll tell you right here that this particular sound inverter can power 18 to 30 feet. These little car cigarette plug-in inverters can do 1 to 5 feet. This one can do 18 to 30 feet. So it's right here in the description of the kit of how much EL wire can be powered. Let's see what's on the other page. So here's the larger one we have. You can do 75 to 90 feet. So hopefully that clears it up, that you don't have to guess which inverter it is by you looking at this little subtitle here. It'll tell you. All right, let's see what the next. Let's see. Oh, now someone said they couldn't hear us, and now we're back. Okay, what is the difference between the easy snap connector and soldering? So it's a really great question, and we're probably a little bit partial to really liking the easy snap connector since we have a patent on it and we developed it, and it actually has taken us 5 years to do it. I'm not going to show you the videos now, but if you go to up here to ELWire info, I believe it's in here. Actually, I think it might be here. Let me go to the educational page. Yeah, but let me see. Let me go back to this page. I thought we had a video link on this page. Videos. Here's the entire list of helpful ELWire. So again, I went to the educational page. There's 3 tabs: the kits, the do-it-yourself, and then you have the videos. So once you click on videos, you can see the entire list of videos that we have. And so we can take the confusion out of ELWire, which is a great video, how to install ELWire on a cabinet. But when we come down here, there's some easy snap connectors. So how strong is the easy snap connector, how to open it, how to use the easy snap connector, and then the easy snap connector advantages. For me personally, the difference between the two is, one, you eliminate the need for having to have a solder iron, shrink tubing, solder, a heat gun, and all those other things. There's a million steps into how to solder it. So if I go to the picture library and I go here, how to solder a connector to ELWire, this is step 1. I'm just going to scroll through these, but you got to cut the outer jacket, you got to trim this center core wire, you got to scrape this off, you got to bend a hook, you got to put your connector with your little shrink tubing on first, you got to wrap it around the hook, you have to solder it, put the shrink tubing on, put a larger piece of shrink tubing on, and then you take the second one with the hair thin wires and you wrap the hair thin wires to the connector, and you keep wrapping it, and then you have to solder that, and then put another big shrink tubing on that. And then we got to do this with the easy snap connector or not, but you just, on the end, you like to strip this off, cut it a little bit, take those 2 little hair thin wires and push them back so they don't come in contact with the end. With the easy snap connector, all you need to do is this step right here, is just strip it and put this inside the easy snap connector and close it. So if you're in the field and it ever breaks or something goes out with the easy with the ELWire, say you were at a really crazy party and something happened to the ELWire, you can strip it if you had the easy snap connector, put it back in, and you're good to go. If you soldered it, you're not going to have that same luck. So we're really partial to the easy snap connector. Now, if the size of the connector is just too large for your application, then I think that's when you would go with the solder connection. All right, let's see if we can move on. Okay, what is a good type of glue that sticks the wire to acrylic plexiglass? So that's a really good question. Depending on how clean you really want that. So if it's going to be something permanent, I don't know if I would really go with glue. I would probably go with something more like if you had the ability to get it routed, which means put a groove in the plexiglass and push the wire in there. Another clean way would be is if you took 2 little teeny holes and you use a very thin, clear fishing line. A glue that we use would be like the crazy glue. And either one of those works. Sometimes the crazy glue, though, will create like a foggy haze on the plexiglass. But try to use a very small dot, and instead of trying to use the liquid one, try to use the gel super glue. Just put a small dab of gel on there and then push it down, and I think that's absolutely going to be your best one. You can use hot glue as well. And honestly, it's just a matter of how clean and how permanent you're going to make this, but I would really try the gel super glue. Which wire would be best to make a costume? Another great question. I personally like either the 5.0 or the 2.6. It just depends on your application. And the reason I say that is The 5.0 will give you a little bit more muscle behind it. If you think you're going to be a little bit active and you're going to be bouncing around, it's going to provide a little bit more protection. But I think if you're looking for really nice, clean, straight lines, then I think you should use the 5.0. And the reason I say that is if you took the 2.6, and the only reason I'm sticking with the 2.6 and the 5.0, they're brighter. And that's the only reason I keep using those. I think the 0.9 is going to be way too thin for the costume. I think it'll just snap. The 2.2 versus the 2.6, I think is just a brightness thing. But depending on the color, if you went with the power green or the blue green, then you can get away with the 2.2. It's a little bit less expensive. When you're doing a costume, you really want to kind of create in your design some slack where the elbows bend or where the knees bend. If you were to do a very tight straight line going up the front of your leg from the ankle over the knee down, and it was really tight standing up, it was a perfectly straight line, and you were to kneel down, then you would create stress on that EL wire. So whenever you're doing that, you would either do a section from the ankle just below the knee, and then if you had the ability to cut into the fabric a little bit, you can do a little bit of lead wire underneath that, and then you can go from above the knee back. But I would make that lead wire a little bit longer and curl it a little bit so you have like excess in the knee. So when you're bending your knee or your elbow, that lead wire is the only thing moving with you. And hopefully that makes sense. As far as straight lines now, if you were to take the 2.6 and I gave you 3 feet of it and you balled it up into a ball in your fist and then let go, it would still be kind of wrinkly. So if you're really kind of like one that wants to keep super straight lines and you're going to be bending it on your costume, the lines may not stay perfectly straight. And the only reason that's happening is the center core wire on the 2.6 is thicker and it'll maintain its shape versus the 2.2. So you would constantly be kind of straightening it out, where the 5.0, if you were to bundle it in your hand and let go, it would relax back to almost perfectly straight, like about 95%. So for me, I kind of like the 5.0, and in some sections, if you're not bending at all, like maybe the chest or stomach area or the back, then you can use really any of the EL wires. So it's more of a concern in your design, and like we showed in the kit builder, you can mix and match the sizes. The only areas, again, of anything, your shoulders that are moving, your elbows, and your knees. And Brenda, if you can add anything, just if you feel like you know, because honestly, Brenda's way smarter than me when it comes to this, so I'm acting like I'm the one, but Brenda and Ramon and everyone else here kind of does. Let's see, how long does the battery pack? That was another question, so we had that. Oh, no sound again. Sound like we were going out. Okay, how long of an extension wire can I have in between the EL wire and the inverter? Another good question, kind of a technical question. It doesn't really affect the EL wire until you end up with possibly 50 feet of lead wire or more. And so the big question is, from the output of the inverter to the EL wire, will I lose brightness, or will that lead wire count as part of the footage? It does, but it's so minimal, so that's why if you're going to go ahead and get an inverter, let's say you need 50 foot of wire powered, and you get an inverter that does, let's make believe, from 20 to 50 foot, and you're going to have a 100-foot extension, then I wouldn't go with a 50-foot inverter. I would go with one that maybe does like 60 to 100, because there's more power there. So by adding a lot of lead wire, it does affect the wire a little bit as far as the output and the power. So that's why we would pump up the inverter a little bit. But in most cases, no one's putting like 50 feet, 100 foot, or 300 foot of lead wire. And if you do have something that big, then sometimes you may want to go ahead and put separate inverters in different locations if that's possible. But any kind of design questions that you have, you can always give us a call. I mean, we have a toll-free number. We have the chat line. And so we're here to help you kind of with all of your questions. So hopefully that answered your question. I really appreciate these questions too. I mean, it's kind of a full house here, so everyone's asking a lot of great questions. So it says, do you have a data sheet for the EL wire? We don't have a data sheet per se about the EL wire itself as far as the makeup of EL wire. It's kind of simple, and for us, that data is, for at least our customers, it's like that question really has never come up in the past 11, 12 years. Once in a while it comes up, but we would say it's a copper wire. It has phosphorus around the copper wire, like we showed you in the steps on how to solder it. And then you have two little hair-thin wires, and then you need AC power to power the EL wire itself. Now what we do have, let me see if I know where it is. Oh yeah, so okay, let me show you how we kind of got here. I went to the EL wire info, and I just went to picture library, and you can see we're here with the picture library. Right here we can see EL wire power consumption. You might find this a little bit hard to look at. We've changed the color of our screen or the background, so we kind of have to go in here and modify some of this. But to try to simplify this, if you're looking for power consumption, this is on our 0.9 wire. Here's the min feet, the max feet, and then we started measuring the amps, the minimum, the max amps, and all that stuff. And it's kind of with our 12-volt inverter, and then it'll say like 39 to 49 feet. And it goes down for each one. Here's the 2.2 millimeter EL wire specs on how many amps and milliamps are being pulled if you're trying to power that amount of footage. And we go to the 2.6, and the 2.6 and the 5.0 are the exact same center core wire. It just has a thicker jacket. So if you were to strip out the 2.6 outer jacket and the 5.0 outer jacket, it's the same light bulb inside. Just the 5.0 just has a thicker protection jacket on it. So this is the data that we have on it. If you have anything like really specific that you need answered on it, a lot of people will come up to us and say, hey, I just want to buy an inverter. No, I just want to buy EL wire, and I want to power it on my remote control airplane. So will it work on 3 volts? All EL wire requires 100 volts. It's the same voltage that comes out of your wall outlet. In fact, you can take EL wire. I wouldn't try this unless you really know what you're doing, but you can strip out the jacket and scrape off the white phosphorus coating, and then twist those 2 little hair-thin wires, and then you can actually shove those inside of a wall outlet. So you would strip this off and shove these, but this goes in one side of the wall outlet, this on the other. The EL wire will light up. It is truly, it needs AC power. You cannot power it with DC. And what makes it less bright, it's going to be about 70% less bright, is because the hertz. In the US, when you power this up, it's running at 60 hertz. And so the phosphorus needs a higher hertz, so that's why you're going to hear a humming sound when you get the inverter. Some people can hear it. I'm kind of tone deaf to it, and so I can't really hear it, and it's probably more of an age thing than anything else. But some people will hear it and say, God, what is that screaming sound or that loud buzzing sound? Well, we need about 2,000 hertz, and that starts becoming audible. We've taken a lot of precautions and a lot of design steps to try to lessen that, but when you have something running at 2,000 hertz, it just becomes audible. And so the higher frequency is what gets the phosphorus more excited, where it's 60 hertz coming out of the wall outlet, it's 2,000 hertz coming out of the inverter, and that's really where you get your brightness coming, to get the EL wire bright. Okay, let's see. Okay, can I put EL wire on the outside of my car? I think there's many different answers to this question, and I'm just going to tell you what my personal one is. No. Most people would say, why would you say that? And I'm not picking on any other company, or if you buy it from Amazon or eBay, they may have pictures of it outside, and I'll tell you why. The number one enemy of EL wire is humidity. Have people put it on their car outside and have been successful? Yes. I just personally wouldn't do it and expect it to last long term. If you're doing it for like a show, or if you're like in an art car parade and you want to do that, we have a ton of art car parade customers here in Houston, and they use EL wire and LEDs, and they may get a season out of it, they may get 6 months out of it, but if you're trying to do a nice clean line and you want it to last for years, that's probably not going to happen. And my theory is, and I've never really been able to prove it, because there's been people out there that have done what I'm about to say, and they've had no issues at all. I think when you heat up metal, it expands a little bit, and so this center core wire here will expand, and then when it gets colder at night or the sun goes down, it contracts, and then this white coating, the phosphorus coating, is bonded to this copper wire. And so if you keep having something expanding and contracting, expanding and contracting, it'll eventually, this coating will lose its grip on that core and start creating black spots. And as soon as I said that, and we try to run a test outside in the sun, we're here in Houston, high humidity, and after 3 months, we powered it up and it looked perfect. We had another guy here in Houston that outlined his pool, and he had it there for 2 years, and water was splashing on it. Obviously, sun is coming straight down on it, and he had no issues at all. So we're not the type of company to sell you things just to make money. We would never, ever do that. And like I said, but we've also had people call up and said their wire has failed outside. And that's why my personal answer would be, if it's not something you expect to have on for years, then I would go ahead and do it, and especially if it's for a short-term event on your car. All right, let's see. We really apologize on the microphone thing. This is our very first time of doing our webinar, and we have a little green bar up here that kind of shows us that our microphone is working, and we're hoping that you hear us, but we will definitely call up the company and find out why it wasn't working. Okay, if I go to the sound inverter with the brightest wire, 2.6, and I go 2 feet over, would it still work? The answer is absolutely yes, it will work. We try to put a little bit of a safe zone in our inverters as far as how much we want to power it. Think of it this way: if you were to buy a truck and that truck said that it can tow 7,000 pounds, you can actually hook that truck up and you have a boat that weighs, let's say, 11,000 pounds. So that's 4,000 pounds over. Your truck is going to pull that boat, and you may not even feel the strain on it, but that transmission and your drivetrain is really designed only for 7,000. So over time, that inverter is, depending on how much you went over, could cause a strain on that inverter and cause it to eventually burn out. So that's why we put the footage on there, but it also depends, and I hate getting very technical. So there's a difference between the 0.9, 1.4, and 2.2 millimeter EL wire, which I said was the lesser of the bright, were the 2.6 and 5.0. So when you go to our EL wire section, and it's kind of a really great question. That's why if you're buying kits, you never have to worry about it, because you're going to the 2.6 millimeter kit. So all the inverters there and the lens are designed for the 2.6. But if you're just going to go straight right here, not to the educational page, but if you just went right to EL wire, this is the first page, and you went right into inverters, the footage that you see here, 8 to 13 feet, is really only for the 0.9, 1.4, and 2.2, and we're going to call that our second generation wire. If you try to put on the 2.6 or 3.0 EL wire on this inverter, the safe number is, take the last one. Okay, Brenda said click on it. Okay, so right here it says powers up to 6 feet of the 3rd generation 2.6 wire. What I was about to say was if you kind of cut this number in half, that's going to be safe, but it only applies if, again, you went from the home page, you went to EL wire, and then you clicked on inverters. That's the only time you're going to have to worry about the conversion, but it should be listed under each inverter how much of the 2.6 you can do. But if you went strictly to the, let's say the 5.0 kits, then the footage here is already designed for you to handle the new 3rd generation wire. So again, I hope that answered that question. Another great question, how flexible is the EL wire? What we try to tell people, again, it's going to be we think it's kind of funny. You know, life is ironic. So we tell people take a number 2 pencil and you can bend the wire or wrap the EL wire around that. So we started a video and I said, well, you know what? I'm going to show people that if you bend it tighter than a number 2 pencil, then we can literally show a simple video that, hey, once you go past that, it's gonna go out. So I did that. I put it around a really thin screwdriver, which was thinner than a number 2 pencil. It still was lighted. I then tried to pinch it with my fingers as tight as I possibly could, and it still didn't go out, and it didn't cause a black spot. So then I'm like, okay, well, this video is not going well at all. So then I took some needle nose pliers and I pinched the wire, and it still didn't go out. So to answer your question, we still go with try not to bend it more than a number 2 pencil, and here's why. What probably happened when I did those things was the hair thin wire, and I know I keep going back to this this picture here. This hair thin wire, and I don't know if we can see it in one of these pictures, but I don't know if you can see it either. I don't know what the quality is on your end, but like right here, I can kind of see the hair thin wire spiraling through. So if you were to bend this EL wire right where this EL wire was right here, and we crack the coating, this white phosphorus coating, then there's a chance that this hair thin wire and cracking that coating could create an arc. So it could have been nothing more than where I bent it. But I obviously would not try to pinch it or go greater than, or you can probably cheat a little bit and go a little bit more than a number 2 pencil. So I don't know if I answered that question, but it's kind of you kind of have to play with that one. All right, let's see if we have any more questions. What is the difference between the 3-volt, 9-volt, and 12-volt inverter? Another super duper question, and a lot of people think that the higher the voltage you go, the brighter the EL wire is, and that is absolutely not true at all. We have different voltages, so if you have an application that puts out 3 volts, then you would just get one of our 3-volt inverters, because you have 3 volts and you don't want to go ahead and get an extra battery pack or a wall transformer. You're saying, hey, my device is either maybe like an RC device or something you may have built. The output is the same. It's still going to be roughly 120 volts AC running at 2000 hertz. And the same thing with the 9-volt inverter and the 12-volt inverter. Now, each inverter is designed slightly different. So some inverters are a little bit brighter than the others. And that's just kind of inherent to the components inside the inverter itself. But for the most part, if you were to put a 3-volt, 9-volt, and a 12-volt inverter and light up, and they were all rated to power, let's say 10 foot, you're really not going to see much of a difference, if any difference, inside that inverter. Now, sometimes the 12-volt, like battery packs, if you put 2 AA's, will last a little bit longer than the 9-volt. The 9-volt battery is just not a very efficient battery, and so those kind of die out a lot quicker. By saying if you were to power 30 feet of, or 15 or 16 feet of the 3rd generation on the 9-volt, you may get, what do you think, Brenda? Yeah, maybe 4 to 5 hours on that one. And so if you're using the 9-volt inverter, just be prepared to get a few extra batteries. It's a great inverter. There's a lot of functions on it, but they're just 9-volt in general are not very efficient. Can I put the EL wire in my fish tank? I would do that. It is water resistant, but not waterproof. So if you were to do that, I would run it through some kind of a waterproof tube, because probably after a month and a half, 2 months, that water is going to penetrate that jacket and eventually get into the eel wire and then cause a short. And we definitely would not want that to happen. I'm sure the fish don't want it to happen either. Let's see what else we have. I'm just going to go through and see if we have any more questions before we end this. Again, one of the questions was, is the 5.0 possibly brighter than the 2.6? And the reason it takes me a while to get through the questions, there's like hundreds of them in here, and there's a lot of the same ones, so I'm just trying to pick ones. No, because you have the same lighting element inside the 2.6 as you do the 5.0. Now, maybe if you're in the dark and you have a choice of seeing a line that's just a little bit thicker versus a little bit thinner, you may pick it up just because there's more material there, but it's not brighter. Let's see. No, the EL wire does not get hot at all. Now, if you were to bundle it up and you had 50 foot and you just wrapped it up, you may feel, I mean, maybe a teeny bit of heat, but it's not anything that you could not withstand. I mean, it's just like, I don't know. I mean, you don't really feel any heat at all. I mean, it doesn't put out anything. So I know we're coming down to the end of this. These are some really super questions. Go to our website. We're really going to be looking for ideas that you want for other webinars. I mean, it doesn't matter what it is. We will put it together, and then we will send out another invitation. So if you can email us, and it's on our website. If you say if you go to contact us, and just put it in here, or it's real easy to remember, info@ThatsCoolWire.com. I'll try to answer one more question. Let's see. One was, if I have too much EL wire, can I cut it? Absolutely. The only thing you got to be really careful about is, I'm going to go back to that picture. Here's what cannot happen again. So I want you to kind of get a mental picture of this. These two little hair-thin wires, which spiral around the EL wire, and it only comes in contact with this coating, can never ever come in contact with this center core wire or the bare copper wire. So sometimes when you make a cut, and that's why we do this at the very end, if you have a dull pair of cutters or a dull pair of scissors, when you cut this, you could drag one of those little hair-thin wires over the end of this wire. So if we were to look at a different view of this and look at the end straight on, you would see the metal wire in there. You could drag the little hair-thin wire over. So that's why we leave a little bit of a nub, and then we take the two little hair-thin wires and we kind of fold them back towards the jacket. So there's no way that those two little hair-thin wires can touch the end. So the reason I bring this up is, if you cut your wire, there's a chance that you might drag one of those hair-thin wires. So out of 10 cuts, it may never happen, or it may happen one time, or it's maybe more like 1 out of 50 times you could possibly short it out. Recommendations: just use very sharp scissors or a cutter and do a very quick snip. And if you can get a little magnifying glass, or if you have better eyes than I have, look at it, and if you don't see the little hair-thin wires anywhere near the end, then you're good. If you cut it and you don't have the end cap, sometimes you can peel our end cap off. We sell end caps, but if you need to protect the end of it, I would either put some black tape on it, get some silicone, just put something on the end, because you won't get electrocuted even though it's AC, but you will feel a little bit of a tingle if your skin comes in contact with that center core wire and the little hair-thin wire. So go ahead and protect yourself. And maybe we'll have time for one more. Nope, looks like our time is up. So again, we really appreciate all the questions. Write down this discount code. It's only going to be good till June 8th. And we truly, truly, really appreciate you being here with our first webinar, and tell us all your ideas for future webinars. Thank you.